Here in this lecture, we would discuss the remaining part of the story. In the previous lecture, we had seen how Horace Denby managed to enter the shoot over Grange. After studying 2 weeks of the house, she could enter the campus of the building and how he could manage enter the room with the help of a key that was kept on a hook outside the kitchen by the housekeeper. If we if we look into his character, then we can conclude that he was a different kind of thief. He was not like that of a typical thief. He stole the property of other, not for food and drink, fundamental article, but he stole the property of other for purchasing very rare and expensive work, very costly works. We had seen the scenario of the drawing room where our Horace Denby put down his bag and started unlocking the lock of the safe. The actual safe means the box where the jewel was kept, and how he very tactfully cut the wires of the burglar alarm. But one thing we had seen that he had suffering from allergy, and there were some flowers kept inside the drawing room, and because of that he had been suffering from sneezing because of the fragrance of the flowers, and he continuously started sneezing, and his sneezing was very loud in sound, and it was easily heard outside of the building. By the time a very strange figure started asking him about his fever, whether it was hay fever and cold fever. Since he was very busy, Horace Denby replied that he was suffering from hay fever without knowing the personality who was asking him question. Later on you discover who the strange figure actually was. We had also seen that the strange figure started advising him to keep himself away from the plants to that caused disturbance to him. In addition to that, she also especially advised him to see a doctor for for quick remedy or for quick cure. It was a quiet, kindly voice, but moving to text, it was a quiet, kindly voice, but one with firmness in it. A woman was standing in the doorway, and Sherry was rubbing against her. She could see that it was a woman who was speaking to him in a very quiet and kind manner, while at the same time the Sherry, the dog was the dog was rubbing against her. She was very young and very pretty and dressed in red color. She walked to the fireplace and straightened the ornaments there. If we read the character of the lady, we'd see that she was trying her level best to represent herself as the owner of the house. Actually, she was not the owner of the house. She was another thief. And here we can authenticate the saying, set a thief to catch a thief. चोर से चोर पकड़ाओ. She was very crafty in her nature. She trying her level best to show herself as the owner of the building in front of Forrest Denby, and thus very confidently, directly she walked to the fireplace. Fireplace means kitchen. Directly she walked to the fireplace and straightened and arranging the ornaments they are available in the kitchen. Down, Sherry, she said very confidently. She told the dog to cool down. Anyone would think I had been away for a month. She smiled at Horace and went on. However, I came back just in time, though I did not expect to meet a burglar. By and by, she became more confident in her voice. She was she was telling She was telling to herself, someone might have thinking me. Actually, she was addressing Horace Denby. She started telling herself that someone might have thought that I was away from my house for a long month but however, I could reach my room in time. But I did not expect of the presence of a burglar and thief, but I could not hope of a presence of a thief in my room. Horace had some hope because she seemed to be amused at meeting him. He might avoid trouble if he treated her right way. He replied, I didn't expect to meet one of the family. Horace found a little bit expectation in his heart. While she discovered that the lady was not in her state of anger, she, in a very amusing way, talking to Horace Denby. Then Horace Denby found a little bit ray of expectation, a ray of hope in his heart. Then she thought it would be better to talk to the lady directly or very frankly. I came, yes, she told that I did not expect to meet one of the family. Horace, Horace very frankly told he did not think of the presence of one of the family member of the building. She nodded. Nodded means moved. The lady moved her head and told, I see what an inconvenience it is for you to meet me. What are you going to do? Her confidence is growing more and more. She told, I had discovered the hesitation in you as soon as you saw me. And what are you going to do? She also asked Horace Denby. Horace said, my first thought was to run. Actually, I thought of running away while I saw you. Horace, of course you could do that, but I would telephone the police and tell them all about you. They would get you at once. She very craftily told that, yes, you could run away very easily, but I had the option of telephoning the police and arrest you. Horace said, I would of course cut the telephone wires first, and then he hesitated. While the lady talked about police for arresting him, Horace very hesitatingly told, I would cut the telephone wires and you could not call the police. I would make sure that you could do nothing for some time. A few hours would be enough. She, Horace also added that I I was giving you assurance that I could cut all the wires of telephone within no time, within a short span of time, and thus co- you could not ring the police. Horace paused and then said, I think, sorry, she looked at him seriously. You would hurt me? The lady started becoming serious, and in a serious tone, in a serious manner, she looked at Horace Denby and asked, you would hurt me? And asked the question. That means, did Horace want to hurt him? Horace paused and then said, pause means stop. Horace stopped and said, I think I was trying to frighten you when I said that. Then Horace became a little bit normal and told that, did I hurt you while I was thinking of cutting the telephone wires no, to not inform the police? You did not frighten me. Horace suggested, it would be nice if you would forget you ever saw me. Let me go. Then she started begging the lady that please let me go without let me go very easily. I would be nice if you would forget you. It would be nice if you would forget you forever. You ever saw me, let me go. Horace told that if the Horace requested the lady to forgive him forever and let him go out of the house. The voice was suddenly sharp. The sound of the lady became a little bit rude. Why should I? Why should I free of you? You were going to rob me. If I let you go, you will only rob someone else. Society must be protected from men like you. In a sharp tone, the lady told, why would I excuse you? If I let you go easily, then you you would loot someone else. You are robbing me, you are looting my property, and why would I lose you very easily? Society must be protected from a man like you, she also added. Horace smiled. I am not a man who threatens society. In a confusing tone, in, uh, in a very nervous, in a nervous tone, she told that I am not a man to threaten the society. I steal only for those who have a lot of money. I steal for a very good reason, and I hate the thought of prison. While the lady started threatening Horace Denvai, in a very calm and quiet, in a very submissive tone, surrendering tone, Horace Denvai told, I stole property not of poor but of rich, and I did it for a good reason. And he stole the property of other for purchasing an expensive book. It is very well known to us. He also added that he did not like to go to prison. She laughed and he begged, thinking that he had persuaded her. She laughed, while Horace Denby told that he did for a good reason, and he loot the property of rich people. The lady started smiling, and Horace thought that he was able to win over or manage the lady. She, uh, she laughed and he begged, thinking that he had persuaded her. Look, I have no right to ask you for anything, but I am desperate. Let me go, and I promise never to do this kind of thing again. I really mean it. He started requesting to let him free, and he would never do such sort of exercise in his life. She was silent, watching him closely. The lady became silent and watching at Horace very silently. Then she said, you are really afraid of going to prison, aren't you? Then she asked, was Horace really getting afraid of going to prison? She came over to him, shaking her head. I have always liked the wrong kind of people. She moved her head and told that she always liked the people. She always liked the wrong kind of people. She picked up a silver box from the table and took a cigarette from it. Horace, eager to please her and seeing that she might help him, took off his gloves and gave her his cigarette lighter. The lady very confidently picked up the silver box that was kept on the table and opened it. From the box, she picked up a cigarette. In sense of convincing the lady, Horace Denby held his lighter towards the lady so that she could easily light up his cigarette. Taking off his gloves and gave her cigarette lighter. You will let me go. He held the lighter towards her. Holding his lighter towards the lady, Horace requested him whether the lady would let him go out of the house. Yes, but only if you will do something for me, anything you say. From this line, we can easily understand that she was not the owner, she was a fake owner of the building. The lady told that, yes, I would let you go, but there were some conditions. Let's see what were the conditions. Before we left for London, I promised my husband to take my jewels to our bank, but I left them here in the safe. I want to wear them to a party tonight, so I came down to get them. But Horace smiled. You have forgotten the numbers to open the safe, haven't you? Yes, replied the young lady. Just leave it to me, and you will have them within an hour. But I will have to break your safe. She made a condition. If Horace did a favor to her, he would let him go out of the house without informing the police. She described whole his her whole story that before they arrived or left for London, she promised her husband to take all her jewels to the bank, but unfortunately, she left her she left her in the room. Now I want to wear them to a party tonight, so I come down to get them. She also added that she forgot to pick up the jewels and submitted them there in the bank. Rather, she forgot and left her jewels in the room. Now she wanted to wear them for a party, so she came down to pick up them. Horace smiled. You have forgotten the numbers to open the safe, haven't you? Horace smiled and told, perhaps you might have forgotten the passcode or pin code through which she could easily unlock the lock of the safe where the jewelry was kept. Yes, replied the young lady, just leave it to me and you will have them within an hour, but I will have to break your safe. Then Horace told her, give me an hour and I would break your safe and I could easily take out the jewel you needed to put on for the party. Yes, from this statement, we, we can easily understand that she was a fake persona. She was not the original owner of the building. If she were an original owner, definitely he she would not have forgotten the password of the key through which he could easily unlock the lock of the safe. Don't worry about that. My husband won't be here for a month and I will have the safe mended by that time. The lady told Horace to break the safe without any doubt because her husband was not there with her and she could easily mend mean repair. She could easily mend the safe without the knowledge of her husband. And within an hour, Horace had opened the safe, given her the jewels, and gone happily away. Within an hour, Horace could break the lock of the safe and handed over the jewel to the lady. For 2 days, he kept his promise to the kind young lady. On the morning of the third day, however, he thought of the books he wanted and he knew he would have to look for another safe. But he never got the chance to begin his plan. By noon, a policeman had arrested him for the jewels robbery at Shotover Grange. After 2 days of the incident took place in Shotover Grange, she started thinking for another plan for looting so that he could easily buy the books he wanted. But just after 2 days, police came and handcuffed him. For 2 days he kept his promise to the kind young lady. On the morning of the third day, however, he thought of the books he wanted and he knew he would have to look for another safe. That means on the third day, he hardly thought of the plan for for looting another house, but he could not do that. Why? Because he thought of the books he wanted and he knew he would have to look for another ship, but he never got the chance to begin his plan. By noon, a policeman had arrested him for the jewel robbery at Shotover Grange. His fingerprints, for he had opened the safe without room, and no one believed that when he said that the wife of the owner of the house had asked him to open the safe for her. The wife herself, a grey-haired, sharp-tongued woman of 60, said that the story was nonsense. When the policeman arrested him on the third day, she very frankly told that the owner of the house ordered him to break the lock. The policeman could arrest him easily because his fingerprints left on the surface of the safe or box where where the lady took away all the jewel. And she very frankly started giving his statement that he did not steal the property, but the owner of the house or building ordered him to do so. The wife herself, a grey-haired, sharp-tongued woman of 60, said that the story was nonsense. But the owner of the house, that time he saw was a quite different, a woman who was gray-haired, white-haired, in her 60. The original of the owner told that it was a quite nonsense story. Horace is now the assistant librarian in the prison. He often thinks of the charming, clever young lady who was in the same profession as he was and who tricked him. He gets very angry when anyone talks about honor among thieves. As a result, he was imprisoned. He was imprisoned, and staying in prison, he always remembered the lady, the beautiful lady who tricked him in the same profession. He sometimes got angry staying in the prison whenever other thieves talked about dignity and honor among themselves, remembering the trickery incident happened to him in the shoot over Grange. Here the story ends.